Today, in Questions That Matter, we ask, why does the rapture take place before the tribulation period? Here's John Ecob from the Herald of Hope.
Well, the Bible is very clear about when the rapture takes place, and it cannot happen at the end of the tribulation. It has to happen at the beginning of the tribulation, and the reasons for that are very clear. In Luke's Gospel, in chapter 12, Jesus is speaking to the disciples about the last days, and he says in verse 36, "And you yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself, and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them." So here we have the order of events that will take place at the second advent of Christ. Remember, Luke's Gospel, Matthew's Gospel, Mark's Gospel are written to Israel before the church was established. And so he's talking to them about not the rapture, but the second coming, which takes place, we saw from Matthew chapter 24, immediately after the tribulation of those days, Christ will come as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Now, when he comes, it's described here, and it says, when he shall return from the wedding. So the wedding has to take place before Christ returns, because he comes from the wedding. And the wedding is the wedding of Jesus Christ and his bride. So the wedding has to take place before the second coming, because he returns from the wedding. Now, the wedding has to have a bride. You can't have a wedding without the bride. And the wedding takes place in heaven. And the bride has to get to heaven for the wedding to take place. So how is the wedding going to take place in heaven if the bride hasn't been previously taken to heaven? And of course, that's exactly what will happen. When the rapture takes place, 7 years before the Lord returns, the church will be caught up, the bride of Christ. And the church is the bride of Christ. Paul said to the Christians at Corinth, he says, "I have espoused you to one person and to Christ." And so we have been engaged to the Lord Jesus Christ. We are waiting for the wedding day. And the wedding day will take place when we are raptured into his presence. We'll be with him forever in heaven for 7 years. And then at the end of the 7 years, Christ will come again to this earth, and he will return from the wedding. So the wedding has to take place in heaven. And then, of course, in Revelation chapter 19, we're told that the bride hath made herself ready at the second coming. This reaffirms the fact that the wedding's already taken place. And he says, "Let us be glad and rejoice," Revelation 19, verse 7, "and rejoice and give honour to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, and the fine linen is the righteousnesses of the saints. And he saith unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God." So the Lord Jesus is going to return from the wedding. The marriage supper will be on earth, and the marriage supper will be here at the beginning of the millennial kingdom of the Lord Jesus. And that's exactly what Luke says back in Luke chapter 12. Not only does he say that he will return from the wedding, but he also says that when he does return, that he will have a feast. He says he would sit down, make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And then he says, and if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so. Blessed are those servants. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered that his house be broken into. Therefore be ready also. So the Lord Jesus is saying, he's going to come again. He's going to come after the wedding. The wedding will take place in heaven, and then he's going to have the marriage supper of the Lamb on earth, and the bride will be there at the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the wedding will already have taken place in heaven.